You are beautiful. You've made the right choice. You're starting your day off with Expresso right here on SABC3. Thank you so much. Welcome back to it. All the fun and games and all the feel-good and inspiration continues to flow because we are stepping into day 4 of being at home, and hopefully you're spending this time with your children if you do have children during the COVID-19 lockdown. Now, we know that toys and games, they're not seen as essential during this period. It means that parents now need to work with the resources that they already have at their disposal to keep their little ones stimulated during this time. Now, how are you going to be emerging from this as a hero parent, a hero mom or dad, using only what you have at home? Well, that's a big question. Now, to answer it, we're joined via Skype by human potential and parenting expert Nikki Bush. Nikki, one of my favorites. Good morning. Nikki, earlier on, we chatted to Katleho about how he's going to be keeping his son entertained during this time. What is the importance of ensuring that our children are stimulated in different ways during this lockdown period?
Good morning, Tabiso. Well, it's really important that we keep our children distracted from their frustration and irritation at being kept in lockdown. Children don't do well in confinement. They're born to move. And it's a little bit like when we put our children into a car seat with restraints. They don't like that either. And we have to be a source of magic, wonder, and surprise to keep them distracted and focused on other things. So how do we position ourselves as heroes in our children's life story right now? And that is to become involved. Now, I know parents have a big challenge on their hands because they are now responsible for 12 hours of awake time every single day. You don't have school to take up a chunk of time anymore, and you don't have extramural activities, so we are solely responsible for this time. And every now and again, we need to be pulling something out of the hat, a rabbit out of the hat, so to speak, with Easter coming up now, and do things that surprise our children, that delight our children. And for me, that means using what we have in our homes already, whether it be a ball of wool, flour, salt, water, bicarb, cream of tartar, old used paper from the printer. We can do a lot with what we have at hand. And interestingly, children find this fascinating because they've been surrounded by so much material, so many material goods, boxed toys, online games. They've got everything that opens and closes today. They don't know how to create fun out of nothing, and this is the time to teach them how to be resourceful by using what you have.
This is the time indeed, Nikki, and this is the time for mum and dad to come out as the heroes of playtime and the heroes of entertainment. But when it comes to homemade craft activities, what sort of activities like that can we do with our children while we're in lockdown? What do you have in that hat of yours, Nikki?
Well, Tabisa, while I was waiting for you, I picked up a ball of wool, and I've been doing some finger knitting. Now, this is an old-fashioned art, but actually not so old-fashioned. When you go and Google it today, there are so many different ways of doing finger knitting, and I'm really just doing a loop over my finger and pulling the other one over. So can you see what I'm doing? In fact, everything we're going to be talking about this morning is on my toytalk.coza website, which is my Learning Through Play website. But can you see? It's just a ball of wool in my fingers. I don't even need any knitting needles. And this is fine motor coordination. I'm using the very same fingers I would use to hold a pen, pencil, or crayon. And it's all about problem solving and spatial planning at the end of the day. So this is a fantastic activity to do with kids, and they actually love it because they don't know how to make a daisy chain.
No, they don't.
Yeah, and if you've got more than one child, and if they're over the age of 7, you could even have a competition to see who can make the longest daisy chain in 5 minutes. You see, we need to create activities every now and again throughout the day that are going to stimulate our children's learning capacity as well as their imagination. And then good old Play-Doh. While our children are stuck indoors and getting frustrated, we need to do stuff that calms them down, that brings the panic down. You know, the lead up to the lockdown has been very frantic. We've all been shopping, we've been planning, we've been fearful, we're still fearful. We don't know where this is going. We are working on a plan that on the 16th of April will be allowed out, but will we? So once again, I want to say to parents, don't do every single activity that you can find in the next week. We are actually in for a marathon, not a sprint. Whether it's 21 days or whether we're in lockdown for longer than that, we need to drip feed these fun activities through the days to our children. Don't kill them with kindness all in one day. But this, to be so, is a great thing to do with your children. Make your own Play-Doh.
And that is a good place to start, Nikki, and I absolutely love it. And I think that it's such an easy one for the parents to start introducing to their children as well. Let's talk about the importance of this, because, of course, this is one part of it is that you are entertaining them, but the other part is that it's about being resourceful so that our children can emerge having developed and nurtured themselves and being nurtured in this time, right? Why is it so important to do this for our children?
That's a really good question, Tabiso. And in my book, Future Proof Your Child for the 2020s and Beyond, which is about parenting in the age of disruption, which is where we find ourselves right now with this pandemic, the world is going to be full of different disruptions, different forms of disruptions moving forward. And our children have to be resourceful and resilient, because as one industry rises, another industry will die. And that means we have to be flexible and adaptable. And if that's a lesson we can come out of lockdown with, being flexible and adaptable, we will have done a good job in helping our children prepare for the future. And what I'm looking at here is a folded paper aeroplane using used paper from my printer. These are the kinds of things we need to do with our children, to show them how to create fun out of nothing, just as we are having to reinvent our businesses over this time, some of us.
I love it, Nikki. I absolutely love it. Nikki, thank you so much for your time this morning. You've definitely inspired me, and hopefully the parents out there are also inspired. It's about making sure that your children know why we are in this situation in this time. So tell them that we are here in the lockdown because of Corona, but of course making sure that they are entertained, that they are stimulated, and they are nurtured at the same time. Nikki Bush can be found on toytalk.co.za. It's time for us to go on an island.